Concrete. Programmi di critica concrete.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, what we are doing here, this is the first green roof that it is 100% installed with nature-based materials. So the first thing we have is this board, this cork board. So this is the waste of the cork industry for the stoppers of the wine. And so we make this board to make thermal isolation of the building. But also, as you see in these cuttings, we can achieve a very good amount of drainage, so liters per square meter hour, with this board. So this is what is under these substrates. Then we have 4 different pots, different areas, with 4 different mixtures of substrate, and the idea is to avoid to have materials that must travel very far distances, and also materials that are industrial based. So what we have here is different mixes of substrate that are completely from waste of different industries, and obviously that we have this one that is the industrial one to compare the performance of the plants. Green roofs right now are really mainstream in most of the cities in the world because of different ecosystem services that they can provide to a city. So green roofs can capture some pollution and produce oxygen, can make a very good contribution for the flooding events because they can harvest a lot of rainwater and release slowly. They can be areas of food production inside the cities, and we cannot forget that the food travels many kilometers. In the United States, the average is 2,600 kilometers until reach the consumer. Green roofs promote biodiversity. Green roofs are a very good element for the thermal isolation of the buildings, so they can really reduce the amount of energy that you need to have a comfortable temperature inside the building. So you have different services that really put the green roof in a top level of the alternatives that we must use in construction to have more resilient cities. So usually you have the modern systems use what we call multi-layer systems. So you have different layers of materials to achieve different kind of performance. Usually you have in Portugal we use a lot inverted roofs. What is an inverted roof? It is a roof that has the thermal insulation over the waterproofing. And usually what we do is use the XPS, it's a blue board made with synthetic materials. And so this is the first thing that we can avoid, is using this natural board instead of the synthetic board. Other thing that we need is to protect the waterproofing, because you need some mechanical protection. And usually you can put a mat that has a kind of good strength to avoid the perforation of the damage of the waterproofing. And this board also acts like a mechanical protection board. After that, usually we use a drainage element that is like it's a plastic material, and usually these materials are with different type of drainage channels, different aids, and so what we avoid with this board is also that plastic board. And then we have a filter. Here we still have a filter, and then the technical substrates, not the soil, because if you use the soil, the small particles of the soil, the silt and the clay, can be washed away over the filter, and then they can clog the filter. and we need to avoid that because we need to have the same amount of load even if it is raining a lot. Here we are using a mix of plants. Because this is a test, we use different family of plants. Some of them we know that they are very tough on an extensive green roof in our Portuguese conditions, and so we are using mainly a group of plants that we know for sure that perform well. So this is not a test for plants, this is a test for substrates. So we need to use what we think really works very well. The process was a long process. So what is a substrate? When we produce a substrate, we try to compare the needs that the plants have when they are growing, when the root is growing. And what the roots need is a stable environmental in water, ingredients and air. So that's why in the soil you have an organic part and you have a mineral part, because both of them contribute for this stability and also for these ingredients that the plants needs to survive. So what we did is to compare and make a very good characterization of the organic ingredients that we have in our industrial substrate and also the mineral ingredients, and try to find in the different industries some kind of materials that comparable could perform the same way. And so after doing this first step and after identifying different type of ways of industry, we start doing the different mixes and doing some experiments and in small pots. And after have that experience with some of these plants, we really noticed that the plants were developing very well. And so this is the next step. It's make a bigger test, and at the end we will have for sure the result and the best composition for the performance of the plants. What we try to do, these will be substrates for extensive green roofs, not for intensive green roofs. So the idea of the extensive green roofs, it's green roofs that will have a performance to promote biodiversity and not for the people to use. If you want to use a extensive green roof, you need to make some kind of platform or walkways and not to walk over the plants, because they are there to promote biodiversity and they will not handle that kind of hard aggression and frequent aggression as a grass can.
100%.
100%.
100% like waste substrate.
Yes. The mineral part and the organic part. Only this one has one ingredient that is industrial made. These two are 100%, and this one has just one ingredient that is industrial made. I'm very curious to make measures every month to see really the development of the plants. Obviously that we are quite sure that the industrial one, the plants will have a much more spectacular development in the beginning. Also because this one has some fertilizers, slow release fertilizers that we add in the composition, and these ones doesn't have any kind of help. But at the end, in the process of the adaptation of a plant is a medium and long-term run. It's not a 100 meters run. And sometimes if you have a very spectacular performance in the beginning of a plant, it's a bad sign. So the good sign is when you have really a slow but a good development of a plant. This is the best performance for a plant. And let's see what we will have here. I think this is a giant step in the nature-based solutions industry, in the green roof industry, because this will put the green roof in another level. I truly believe that construction has the responsibility to contribute for some crises that we are facing that are really dangerous for our species in the world. First of all is the water scarcity that we will have, and we already have in Portugal. And so if we can use green roofs, we will capture a lot of water, and we will evapotranspirate a lot of water during the day, making contribution for the natural cycling of the water. And also I think the construction in the future will be mandatory to incorporate some percentage of waste material, because we have a crisis of a waste crisis also in our cities, in our world. So if we also can add these services for a green roof, this will be something really new. And if we achieve this, we will have one more layer of services that the green roof can give for a city and for our society. So I think this can be a turning point in the history of the green roofs, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. Could you say us a few